Join, wager, cash in, and get a $150 bonus. Sign up now at tvg.com.
It is January 13th. We are a long way away from the Kentucky Derby. May 3rd, first Saturday in May for the 2014 edition of the Kentucky Derby. But hey, never too early to start talking, start analyzing about all the prospects in this three-year-old crop leading up to that first Saturday in May. And on Saturday, we saw the Sham Stakes Grade 2 event at Santa Anita. And look, it was a short field. Couple of scratches here. Top Fortitude is going to be out there for Corey Owens. Also, Life is a Joy. So, hey, it leaves us with a four-horse field. But basically, your bookends here. Cristo along the inside, a $500,000 son of Distorted Humor. And then the 6, Midnight Hawk, there with Mike Smith. Very talented second-time starter for Mike Pegram and Midnight Loot. So, very talented horses here along the rail and on the outside there. Rafael Bejarano on the 1, Cristo, and then the 6, Mike Smith will be aboard. So take a look at the race. Happened here last Saturday. The Sham Stakes Grade 3 starting the prelude to the Santa Anita Derby.
And away they go. Cristo wants the early lead, and Cristo sent along early will get a comfortable lead. Midnight Hawk comes up on the outside. Ontology racing between them. I'll wrap it up in a little tight down at the rail. The 4 of them tightly grouped. They go a good pace as they go past the 7/8, and Cristo is the leader. Pretty keen to go on. Leads at 3 parts of a length. In the second spot is Midnight Hawk, now cutting into that lead. Then we come back to I'll wrap it up at the rail, and Ontology alongside of that. Still 2.5 lengths would cover the 4. On to the backstretch they go now, and on the outside, Midnight Hawk picking up the pace. Midnight Hawk now puts his head in front. Cristo's still right there at the rail. Only a length and a half back to Ontology, and I'll wrap it up at the rail. They run past a half-mile pole. Midnight Hawk on the far side. Cristo's come right back. They head and head again with a half-mile to run. A length and a quarter back comes Ontology. I'll wrap it up at the rail. They run past the 3/8 pole, and Cristo's come right back on the inside. Midnight Hawk right there. These two nose and nose as they come to the quarter pole. Ontology's trying to hang tough in third. I'll wrap it up, drops out. They have a quarter of a mile left to go. Cristo down at the rail. Midnight Hawk on the outside. Still stride for stride. Midnight Hawk the advantage now, though. And Midnight Hawk takes the lead and kicks for home. Cristo's second. Ontology plugging away third. Past the 8th pole, and it's Midnight Hawk. Now, he shifted in a little, but he's clear by a length and a half. Cristo comes back at him on the outside. Midnight Hawk digs deep. He finds more, and Midnight Hawk will come home to win it. Midnight Hawk won it.
Like I say, if you're going to have a 4-horse race, you might as well have the 2 favorites go out there and duel it throughout and see who's the best. And in the Sham on Saturday, Midnight Hawk proved to be the best here with Mike Smith. Second-time starter, first time out wins easily. In the Sham Stakes, wins pretty easily as well. So you got to look at the fact that this is a pretty mover, very talented, very athletic, very balanced, very professional to be able to sit there and duel on the outside and basically pull away. Mike Smith goes to the left-handed whip there late just to keep this one focused and going to get a comfortable victory here in a short field, but going to get the job done there. 6-1-4 was the final order of finish as Midnight Hawk makes it a perfect 2 for 2 to start the career. Keeping it all in the family there because the owner, Mike Pegram, owns the sire Midnight Loot, which was trained by Bob Baffert, who trains Midnight Hawk. So a very familiar setting there with Midnight Hawk. And when you look at the pedigree on this horse to figure out, okay, we know the horse has talent. Can they move forward and progress on the Derby trail to those longer distances, eventually leading up to the 1.25 mile Kentucky Derby on the first Saturday in May? When we look at this pedigree tree, Midnight Hawk here on the top side, Midnight Loot. Now, one thing, we were actually talking about this in the studio earlier with our producer, Brian Martinez, as well as the Sarge, Nick Hines. Midnight Loot was a tremendous racehorse, one of the best that we've seen over the last 10 years, especially from a speed figure angle. But also, he was a 2-time Breeders' Cup Sprint winner. And when you look at it, okay, you think he's a Sprint winner, so his horses don't want to go long. But look at the grandsire there, Real Quiet. Real Quiet won the 98 Kentucky Derby. He won the 98 Preakness, lost the 98 Belmont in a Triple Crown by a dirty nose right there at the wire. But Midnight Loot, you know, if you know about this horse has some breathing issues. You know, they had to do a couple of operations to make sure that this horse could, you know, get maximum airflow. And even with that being said, he's still one of the most talented horses that we've seen. I mean, he had a 124 buyer at Saratoga. So there's no doubt that the pedigree's there for Midnight Hawk. I can't take too much from a 4-horse field. I mean, there's not enough adversity to overcome with just 3 rivals, but the talent is certainly there. We saw Midnight Lucky last year for the Pegrams, as well as Bob Baffert, be a very talented filly that ended up being a really nice miler before she was had to go to the sidelines there for the end of the year. So Midnight Hawk, the talent's there, but the verdict's certainly still out early in the year there for Midnight Hawk. Another horse that I want to talk about here, kind of early in the year. Look, it's January. You don't want to get all in on one horse too early in the year. But let's take a look at this race at Gulfstream Park on January the 3rd, and in the end, you're going to see the top 2 finishers. Check out the 6 there in about 3rd, and also the 5 top billing coming on late.
Commissioner 3rd to the inside. After that, Solemnly Swear, who's under a drive. And then to the outside, it's Ease On By, High Kodiak Warrior. Where's Top Billing going to go? Top Billing is down on the inside, 6 lengths off the lead. Looks like he's full of run as they come toward the top of the stretch. It is still Ichiban Warrior. Ichiban Warrior, the leader at the top of the lane by 2. And then Cousin Stephen to the outside. Top Billing is now splitting horses in a very tight spot there. He tried to squeeze through, and he's got through now. And here he comes with High Kodiak Warrior and Commissioner. Here comes Top Billing and Commissioner. These two emerge out of the pack. Commissioner and Top Billing. Commissioner did it.
Well, that's going to be a really talented bunch for an allowance race early in the year. That's basically a setup race to lead up to the Florida Derby. But the second place finish there, Top Billing, as well as the winner there, Commissioner. Those are 2 really talented horses. Windstar Farms and Todd Pletcher have the 6 in that race, Commissioner. And then for Top Billing, that's another Shug McGahee prospect being by Curlin. Now, you look at Curlin, one of the most impressive maiden breakers I've ever seen in all the races that I've watched in horse racing was Curlin when he won first out at Gulfstream Park for Helen Pitts. Now, Curlin is the topside pedigree here for Top Billing. Curlin already had Palace Malice last year. They had a great year. He's really coming along to be a great sire. Check out the bottom side. AP Indy. Certainly doesn't hurt to have AP Indy as that influence on the bottom side. So I see all dirt and all distance in this pedigree for Top Billing. And an interesting thing with Top Billing, Shug McGahee debuted this horse in December at Laurel Park in a maiden race. So now I'm thinking, why would Shug McGahee send a really talented starter out at Laurel to start late in the year over a sloppy track? But Simon Bray had a really good point. Shug McGahee's training a lot more of his horses at Fairhill. So Fairhill being in Maryland, not very far away from Laurel. So I think it's interesting that Top Billing gets a late start in December. That first race was a sloppy track, split horses late, went on impressively, and then comes back in that allowance race to run second to a nice Todd Pletcher. So you might be asking, okay, why do you like Top Billing over Commissioner when Commissioner won the race? I just think that over time, it seems like a lot of these Todd Pletcher runners, they put up big numbers early in the year at Gulfstream, but might not necessarily improve on that later on in the year. I just think out of those 2, I think Top Billing's probably got more room for improvement there for Shug McGahee. And hey, you can't say that derbies don't come in 2s because Shug McGahee won last year with Orb. He's got Honor Code this year. That's probably the top prospect there in Florida to start the year, but also Top Billing. So a lot of great prospects. It's early January, but it's never too early to maybe find that gem in the rough coming up there for the Kentucky Derby. So 5 months away, and it can't come soon enough.
Join, wager, cash in, and get a $150 bonus. Sign up now at tvg.com.